Okay, so are you ready to get into some seriously juicy relationship advice?
Always. Let's do it.
Today we are going super deep on advice from a YouTuber named Tam Kaur.
Oh, I've seen her stuff. She is super popular right now.
Yeah, she's got a big following, especially for her relationship advice. Her video answering TMI Girl Talk questions or too scared to ask her friends juicy. Come on, that title is everything.
Seriously.
So basically, it's a total crash course on love and relationships, all from a woman's perspective, right? So let's start with something I found super interesting, her big emphasis on self-love.
Yeah. It's almost like she sees it as the foundation,
Right.
You have to love yourself first before you can love anybody else.
Totally. And she suggests taking a whole year.
A whole year.
Yeah, a whole year just to focus on yourself, exploring your own sexuality, all of that.
So no relationships for a year.
Yeah. Abstaining from relationships for a whole year. I mean, that's a pretty bold statement, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely going against the grain,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Everyone's telling you to get out there and meet people,
Right.
But she's not saying to, shut yourself off from the world or anything.
Yeah.
She actually encourages things like self-pleasure, and she even recommends a platform called Cheeks
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that.
for, sex education and entertainment.
It sounds like she's really all about owning your sexuality and breaking down those taboos that still exist, right?
Totally. Women are supposed to be, ashamed or something.
I know. But what do you think about the whole year of abstinence thing? Is it essential for everyone or is it more of a personal choice?
I don't know. It's tricky. I don't think there's a one-size-fits-all answer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But, I do think her message, it highlights how important it is to be self-aware and, really understand yourself first.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just jump into these relationships without really knowing what we need or even what we want,
Oh, totally. And that can lead to so many problems down the road.
Ugh, I know. Been there so many times.
Okay, so let's move on to another really important topic that she talks about. Physical intimacy.
Okay.
She gets really real about the issue of pain during sex,
Yeah, she's not holding back.
which I think is so important
For sure.
because it's often just not talked about.
It's this big secret.
Yeah.
Women are supposed to just deal with it.
Exactly. And Kaur is really advocating for women to take control,
Yes.
and prioritize their own pleasure and comfort.
Which is so important.
She stresses clear communication
Yes.
with your partner, using lubrication, all the stuff no one wants to talk about.
Which is crazy.
Right.
Why is it taboo to talk about lubrication?
I know. And making sure there's enough foreplay.
Seriously.
I really appreciate how direct she is about it,
Yeah.
because I think a lot of women suffer in silence.
Oh, yeah.
Thinking that it's normal
Ugh.
to have pain during sex.
Which it's not.
Not at all. And she even suggests seeing a doctor if it keeps happening,
Right, because it could be something else,
Yeah.
a medical issue or something.
Yeah, she really encourages women to advocate for their health,
Totally.
all areas of their lives.
Which is so important. It's we're always told to just, put up with things.
I know. It's no, speak up. Advocate for yourself.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so another huge issue that affects so many women that she talks about is body image.
Oh, yes.
So important.
The pressure, to look a certain way.
To fit into this impossible mold.
Yeah, to conform to these totally unrealistic beauty standards.
It's everywhere you look.
She has this really relatable anecdote about comparing herself to Ariana Grande.
Oh, yeah. What was it? Remind me.
I don't remember the exact details, but it was it highlights how social media can really mess with your head.
Oh, totally. You're scrolling through Instagram.
Yeah.
Everyone's perfect.
And you're what's wrong with me?
Ugh, seriously.
I'm the only one with flaws.
I know. I totally fall into that trap sometimes.
Me too.
But she gives some pretty good advice about it,
Oh, yeah. What?
Being mindful of who you follow,
Yeah.
And surrounding yourself with more body-positive content.
Yeah, unfollow those people who are making you feel bad.
Seriously. She also mentions this thing called a 5-minute mirror challenge.
Oh, what's that?
Have you heard of it?
No, tell me.
So basically, you stand in front of the mirror
Okay.
for 5 minutes every day.
Well,
And you focus on appreciating your body.
that's a good idea.
Right, flaws and all.
I like that.
It's about shifting your mindset,
Yeah.
from constantly criticizing yourself to actually accepting and loving yourself.
That's so important.
Okay, so now let's get into something a little more controversial, her take on hookup culture.
Ooh. Yeah, she's pretty outspoken about that.
She's not a fan, to say
No.
the least.
Yeah.
She makes a very strong argument against it.
I'd love to hear her take on that.
She believes it can be really damaging,
Yeah,
emotionally,
Right.
and lead to lower self-esteem, especially for women.
that makes sense.
She even shares a personal story about feeling pressured
Oh, wow.
to participate in hookup culture
Yeah.
during university.
Yeah, it's huge in college.
But ultimately, she decided it wasn't for her.
Good for her.
It takes a lot of courage to go against the grain like that.
Totally.
I think her perspective is really valuable because it challenges the idea that hookup culture is like this liberating, empowering thing.
Right, like it's not for everyone.
Exactly. It's important to acknowledge that for some people, it can lead to feelings of emptiness,
Yeah.
and a lack of genuine connection.
Absolutely. It's not all it's cracked up to be.
I mean, it's not about judging people's choices, right?
No, not at all.
But encouraging people to be honest with themselves
Yeah.
about what they actually want, right? Because I think a lot of people just go along with it
Yeah,
because they think that's what they're supposed to do.
totally. So speaking of honesty, Kaur is a huge advocate for setting boundaries
Good.
and having clear expectations right from the start.
I love that. Boundaries are so important.
She suggests having those maybe awkward conversations about exclusivity and
Yeah.
your relationship goals within the first month of dating.
Oh, wow, that's early.
Yeah,
But I kind of like that.
right.
Rip the Band-Aid off, so to speak.
She does not want anyone wasting time in those situationships.
Oh, I hate those.
where it's all ambiguous.
Yes. What are we?
Exact, undefined. It's just a recipe for heartbreak,
Ugh, tell me about it.
She's all about knowing your worth and
Uh-huh.
setting standards that actually align with your values.
Which is so important.
So that leads us perfectly into her advice on red flags in toxic relationships.
Ooh, this is juicy.
She gives some really specific examples
Okay, I'm ready.
of behaviors to watch out for, like partners who pressure you for nudes
Ugh, the worst.
or prioritize physical intimacy
Yeah.
over emotional connection.
Oh, that's a big one.
Right.
You need both.
She's basically saying if he's not respecting your boundaries, run.
Yes, so true.
She even shares this anecdote about blocking her toxic ex
Oh,
on literally every platform
Good for her.
to protect her peace.
love
It's
it.
such a powerful act of self-preservation.
Absolutely. You don't need that negativity in your life.
Okay, so now let's get to the ultimate question, right?
Okay.
How do you know when you've found the one?
Ooh, the big question.
Kaur has a really interesting perspective on this.
I bet.
She brings in bell hooks as 7 components of love.
Okay, remind me what those are.
It's care, affection, recognition, respect, trust, commitment,
Okay.
and honest communication, all the good stuff.
Yeah.
But she also adds her own unique twist to it.
Oh, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
She says that true connection involves feeling safe enough to be your authentic self,
Interesting.
including your inner child,
I love that.
which I think is such a beautiful concept.
It is.
It's about finding someone who accepts
Yeah.
and embraces all parts of you,
All the messy parts.
even the messy bits,
Yeah, because we all have them.
And it's not just about finding someone who loves you for who you are today, right?
Right.
But someone who creates a space
Yeah.
for you to continue growing.
And evolving without judgment.
Yeah.
That's so important.
She also talks about the idea of right person, wrong time, and
Yeah.
how timing can play a role
Yeah.
in whether or not a relationship works out.
That's so true.
She actually uses her current relationship as an example
Oh, right.
and explains how things didn't work out the first time around,
Why?
but then eventually fell into place later on.
That's amazing.
So it's a good reminder that sometimes it's not just about finding the right person,
Right.
but also about being in the right place in your own life
Yeah.
for a relationship to actually work.
But you have to be ready.
Exactly. And recognizing that relationships are dynamic, right?
Yeah, they're always changing,
Always evolving.
growing.
You're not the same person you were 5 years ago,
For sure.
and your partner won't be either.
That's so true.
Okay, so lastly, let's talk about Kaur's advice on maintaining your independence.
Yes. This is so important.
Even within a relationship.
It's so easy to lose yourself.
She's a big believer in what she calls solo dating.
Oh, what's that?
So basically it means taking yourself out to do things you enjoy.
By yourself.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like going to a museum,
Okay.
trying a new restaurant, or even just like taking a walk in nature.
I love that.
She's really encouraging women to like nurture their individuality, you know?
Yeah, and not lose themselves in the relationship.
Exactly. She also stresses the importance of spending time with friends,
Yes.
family, like pursuing hobbies, all that stuff.
So
Having a life outside of the relationship.
Absolutely, because you can't be everything to each other.
Totally. It's all about finding that balance, right?
Yeah.
Between being a supportive partner
Yeah.
and also maintaining your own sense of self.
Yes. Like having your own identity.
It's a reminder that healthy relationships involve like two whole individuals who choose to like share their lives.
Not two halves trying to become whole.
That's a really good way to put it.
So you're both complete on your own.
Yes. And you come together to create something even greater.
Exactly.
So, you know, we were just talking about relationships, but Tam Kaur also gets into some like other stuff.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Like topics that are often considered taboo.
Ooh. I like where this is going.
Yeah, like periods and feminine hygiene.
Okay, yeah. No one wants to talk about that stuff.
Right, but she's like totally open about it.
Good for her.
She even shares her own like personal routine.
No way. That's awesome.
She's really encouraging like a holistic approach to managing your cycle.
Yeah, it gets all connected, right?
Exactly. Like the connection between your physical and emotional well-being.
Right, because it's not just about like popping a painkiller when you have cramps, you know?
Exactly. She talks about how important diet and exercise are in regulating your hormones.
It makes such a difference.
She specifically mentions like turmeric.
Oh, yeah. I love turmeric.
And raspberry leaf tea.
Ooh, I've heard good things about that.
Have you ever tried it?
I haven't, actually, but I'm super curious.
I haven't either, but I'm definitely going to try it now.
Yeah, me too.
She says they have like anti-inflammatory properties.
That makes sense.
She also talks about like listening to your body
Yeah.
and indulging those cravings.
Ooh, yes. Chocolate.
Within reason, of course.
Of course.
She's not saying to like go crazy on junk food or anything, but she acknowledges that sometimes you just like need that chocolate or something salty, you know?
Yeah.
She's all about balance.
Balance is key.
And speaking of balance, she also talks about sleep.
Oh, yeah. Sleep is so important.
For hormonal regulation.
It really is.
We often underestimate how much it affects us, you know?
Like everything.
Like our moods, our energy levels, our cycles.
Totally.
Okay, so then she gets into this like kind of unexpected territory.
Oh, like what?
Feminine hygiene.
Oh, okay. Let's hear it.
She's a big advocate for letting your VJ breathe.
Interesting.
Like, she actually suggests going commando.
Really?
Whenever possible.
That's pretty bold.
Which is, like, so different from what we've always been told, you know?
Right. Like, always wear underwear.
It's like she's challenging those societal norms that tell us we need to be, like, constantly covering up and controlling our bodies.
It's like, let it be free.
Right.
But I can see her point, you know?
Yeah.
Like, take clothing and all that.
Yeah.
Like, you can create, you know, an environment for bacteria.
Yeah, she talks about that.
Yeah.
It's all about, like, promoting natural airflow.
Yeah.
And avoiding products that disrupt your pH balance.
Which is so important.
So it's more about, like, listening to your body and what it needs.
Right. Not just blindly following what everyone tells you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is kind of funny, but she even shares her shaving routine.
What? No way. I want to hear this.
It was actually really helpful.
Oh, good.
Like, who knew there was an art to shaving your legs?
Right.
She breaks it down, like, step by step, explaining how it's important to, like, shave with the grain first and then against it for a closer shave.
Gotcha.
And she swears by aloe vera gel for razor burn.
Oh, that's a good tip.
I'm totally going to try that.
Might have to steal that one.
I think it's just really great that she's addressing these, like, practical things that so many women deal with. It's about, like, normalizing these conversations and sharing tips and tricks, you know?
Yeah. We need to talk about this stuff more.
And she doesn't stop there.
Oh. There's more.
Yeah. She even has, like, DIY solutions for ingrown hairs.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
And hyperpigmentation.
And she's like a walking encyclopedia of beauty tips.
I know. She had this turmeric mask recipe that I was, like, really intrigued by.
Ooh, turmeric. I love turmeric.
I know. It's, like, amazing how many uses there are for natural ingredients, you know?
Totally. It's like back to basics.
Yeah.
Like using what nature gives us
Exactly.
to take care of ourselves.
But beyond the, like, practical advice, I think there's a deeper message here, too.
Oh, for sure.
It's about challenging those beauty standards, you know?
Right, like we don't have to be perfect.
That tell us we need to be, like, perfectly smooth
Yeah.
and hairless all the time.
And airbrushed.
She's encouraging women to, like, embrace their natural bodies with all their, like, so-called imperfections.
I love that.
It's about self-acceptance and body positivity.
So important.
So going back to relationships for a sec,
Okay.
one thing that really stood out to me was her emphasis on taking control
Ooh, I like that.
of your dating life.
Yeah, like being proactive.
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
not just waiting around for things to happen.
Yeah.
She wants women to be clear about what they want
Yeah.
and then like go after it.
Yes. Don't be afraid to make the first move.
She even gives advice on how to like confront a guy
Oh, okay.
who's stringing you along
Oof, those guys.
in a situationship,
Yeah.
like having those tough conversations
Yeah.
and demanding clarity.
Absolutely no one wants to be in limbo, right?
Exactly. It's such a waste of time and energy.
Ugh, so true. Been there.
She's basically saying, know your worth and don't settle.
I love that.
And that goes for like all aspects of dating.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries,
Yeah.
walking away from situations that aren't serving you.
So important.
She's really big on recognizing those red flags early on
Nice.
and not making excuses for bad behavior.
Ugh. Yes. Don't make excuses for people.
I think her advice is especially important for like young women
Oh,
who are just starting to like navigate the dating world.
Yeah. It's a jungle out there.
It's so easy to get caught up in
Yeah,
those like fairy tale romances and ignore the warning signs.
And then you get your heart broken.
Yeah.
And you're like, how did I not see that coming?
It's about learning to trust your gut, you know,
Totally.
and putting your own happiness first.
Always.
She also talks about the importance of like not losing yourself
Oh, yeah. That's a big one.
in a relationship.
So easy to do.
It's so easy to just like morph into your partner
Totally.
and lose sight of who you are.
Yeah. Like your own interests and goals.
She reminds us that we're all individuals
Yeah.
with our own passions and goals, you know?
Absolutely.
And it's okay to pursue those things,
Yeah.
even when you're in a relationship.
Like, don't give up your hobbies.
Exactly. She encourages like solo dates.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about those earlier.
Where you take yourself out
Yeah.
to do something you enjoy.
I love that.
It's a great way to like reconnect with yourself.
Totally.
And nurture your own interests.
So important.
And she also stresses the importance of like having your own friends.
Yeah.
And spending time with family.
Yeah, because you need that support system.
Exactly. Like your partner can't be your everything.
Right. And you don't want them to be.
Because ultimately, a healthy relationship should complement your life,
Yeah.
not consume it.
Exactly.
So that brings us to another like really important piece of advice from Kaur.
Okay, what's that?
Learning how to deal with heartbreak.
Ooh. Yeah, that's a tough one.
Because let's face it,
Yeah.
breakups are inevitable.
They happen to the best of us.
It doesn't matter how much we try to avoid them.
Right.
At some point, we're all going to experience it.
The pain of a broken heart.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's how you deal with it, right?
Yeah, right. And Kaur's approach to heartbreak is actually really refreshing.
I'd love to hear it.
She doesn't sugarcoat it,
Okay.
but she also doesn't like dwell on the negativity.
Yeah.
She acknowledges the pain, the sadness,
Mm.
but she also emphasizes the importance of using it as an opportunity for growth
I like
and
that.
self-discovery.
So it's like turning a negative into a positive?
Exactly.
That's a good way to look at it.
She encourages her audience to like take time to grieve, you know,
Yeah.
but then to focus on rebuilding your life.
Yes.
And rediscovering your own strength and resilience.
So important.
Mhm.
Because you are strong.
She even suggests making a breakup playlist
Ooh, fun.
filled with like empowering anthems
Yes.
to help you get through it.
I love that.
And she also talks about learning from past relationships.
Yeah.
And using those experiences to like inform your future choices.
Yeah, because your past doesn't define you,
Right.
but you can learn from it.
She encourages her audience to like reflect on what worked and what didn't work.
Right, like what are your patterns?
Yeah.
What are you attracting?
And use that knowledge to make better decisions.
Exactly. Like,
Yeah.
don't make the same mistakes twice.
So it's about taking ownership
Yes.
of your part in the relationship
Yeah.
and like learning from your mistakes
Fully.
and growing as a person.
We're all works in progress.
And ultimately, it's about trusting
Yeah.
that even though heartbreak can feel like devastating in the moment,
It does.
you will come out stronger on the other side.
I believe that.
Okay, so now let's shift gears a bit and talk about Kaur's advice on finding your voice
Oh.
in a relationship.
Ooh, That's a good one.
She talks about being assertive.
Yes.
And communicating your needs and desires.
Yeah, clearly.
She encourages women to, like, speak up for themselves, even when it's uncomfortable.
Totally.
And to, like, not be afraid to have those difficult conversations.
Which can be so hard.
It can be.
But it's so important.
She emphasizes that healthy communication is, like, the foundation of any strong relationship.
Absolutely.
And that it's crucial to feel comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
Expressing your thoughts and feelings openly and honestly.
You can't hold it all in.
She also talks about setting boundaries.
Yes. Boundaries are key.
Of not letting your partner, like, walk all over you.
Don't be a doormat.
She wants women to feel empowered.
Yeah.
To say no when they need to.
Absolutely.
And to stand up for themselves.
So important.
She even gives advice on, like, how to handle situations where your partner is, like, pressuring you to do something you're not comfortable with.
Yeah, those are tough situations.
She's like, trust your instincts.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to walk away.
If it feels wrong, it probably is.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that your voice matters.
Absolutely.
And you have the right to be heard.
Yeah, you deserve to be respected.
In a relationship.
Totally.
I think her message is especially important
for,
like, young women who are often, like, socialized to be passive.
Totally. Like, don't rock the boat.
It's about, like, breaking free from those expectations and advocating for yourself and your needs.
So important.
It's about recognizing that you are an equal partner in the relationship.
Absolutely.
And your voice deserves to be heard.
Yeah, just as much as his.
I think Kaur's advice is so valuable because it's coming from, like, a really authentic place.
Yeah, like she's speaking from experience.
And she's not pretending to have all the answers, you know? But she's sharing her journey and encouraging her audience to, like, find their own path.
I love that.
I agree. She's like that wise friend, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Like the one you go to for advice.
Who always gives you the best advice, even when it's not what you want to hear.
Exactly.
And I love that she's not afraid to get real.
Yeah.
About the messy parts of life.
Yeah, life is messy.
Like dealing with heartbreak.
Yeah.
Navigating those, like, awkward dating situations.
Right.
Even, like, figuring out how to shave your legs without getting razor burn.
Seriously. The struggle is real.
She normalizes these experiences, you know, and makes her audience feel seen and heard.
I love that about her.
Me too.
So what's next? What else does she talk about?
Well, we've covered a lot of ground, but there's one more important thing we need to discuss.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Her perspective on, like, how to recognize the one.
Yes.
And what it truly means to find lasting love.
Can't wait to hear it.
Okay, we'll be right back after this quick break. All right, so we're back, and, like, are you ready to talk about the one?
Oh, yes. The ultimate question, right? How do you know?
Yeah, how do you know? It's exciting, but also kind of scary.
Totally. Like, what if you miss them? Or what if you think they're the one and they're not?
So many what ifs. But, like, Akaru's take on this is actually super insightful.
Okay, tell me everything.
She goes way beyond, like, the surface stuff, you know?
Yeah, like just the attraction.
Yeah, like just the chemistry, the sparks.
Okay.
She really digs into what it means to have, like, a real connection.
Yeah, like a deep connection.
A lasting connection with someone. She even mentions bell hooks, remember her?
Oh, yeah. Didn't she write about, like, the different types of love?
Yeah, like the 7 components of love.
Okay, remind me what those are again.
It's care, affection, recognition, respect, trust, commitment, and honest communication.
Okay, yeah, all the important stuff.
Right, like the foundation of any good relationship, right?
Yeah, sure.
But it's still, like, pretty broad, you know?
Yeah, like how does that tell you if someone's the one?
Right. So what makes Kaur's take on it unique?
Okay, well, she adds this layer that I thought was super interesting.
Okay.
She talks about feeling safe enough to be your authentic self. Like, all of you, you know?
Yeah.
Including your inner child.
Oh, I love that.
Right. It's about finding someone who accepts all of you.
Even the parts you don't like.
Yeah, even the messy parts, the parts you try to hide.
So it's not just about someone who loves you for who you are now, right? It's about someone who encourages you to grow and change.
Yeah, involve.
Without judgment.
Yeah, like a safe space to be yourself.
I love that. And she also talks about, like, the right person, wrong time thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a tough one.
Like, acknowledging that sometimes, like, things just aren't lined up.
Yeah, like maybe you're not in the right place in your life.
Exactly. She actually uses her own relationship as an example.
Really?
She and her current boyfriend actually dated years ago,
Oh, wow.
but like the timing wasn't right.
Interesting.
They both needed to grow and like experience life
Yeah.
before they could really be together.
I guess sometimes it's not meant to be.
Yeah, not at that moment.
Right.
It's a good reminder that, sometimes it's not just about finding the right person.
Yeah.
It's also about being in the right place in your own life
At the right time.
to make it work.
Totally. That makes a lot of sense.
So, I think we've covered so much today.
We have. It's been a lot.
But, what are the key takeaways from this whole deep dive,
That's a good question.
What do you think people should, really remember?
I think Kaur's message is so powerful because it's so real.
Yeah.
It's honest. It's vulnerable.
She's not afraid to put herself out there.
She's not pretending to be perfect.
Right, and I think that makes her super relatable.
Totally. She's just a normal person.
She's been through it.
Yeah.
And she's learned from her experiences.
Yeah, and she's willing to share that.
Yeah, which is awesome.
I think, another big takeaway is that she really challenges us
Yeah.
to, question everything.
Yeah, those societal norms.
Yeah, those expectations.
About dating, about relationships, about body image, about everything.
She's like, think for yourself.
Yeah. And, define your own experiences.
Yeah, create your own path.
She's all about empowering women.
Totally.
Mhm.
You are in control of your own life.
I love that.
She definitely gave me a lot to think about.
Me too. And I think one of the biggest things I'm taking away from this is that there's no one right way to do things.
Yeah, there's no rule book for life.
Exactly. It's all about figuring out what works for you.
Yeah, and having the courage to be yourself.
And to, go after what you want.
And not settle.
So if there's one thing you remember from this deep dive,
Okay.
it's to, trust your gut.
Yeah.
Be true to yourself.
Yeah.
And never be afraid to, shake things up a little.
I love that.
Whether you agree with everything Kaur says or not.
Yeah.
She definitely makes you think differently.
She does. She's a force.
And that's pretty powerful,
Absolutely. And remember, the journey of self-discovery never really ends.
Yeah.
So be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And keep learning, keep growing.
Because who knows, maybe the one is out there.
Just waiting for you.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We hope you learned something and maybe even got inspired.
To take control of your own life.
To live your best life.
Yes.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
Bye, everyone.